This is Dynamo, and I'm going to teach you how to be the best Dynamo in Deadlock. Now there's timestamps down below for those who want to jump around and whatnot. If you've never played Dynamo before, let's quickly cover his abilities. His first ability is Kinetic Pulse, or the Stomp. Now at base level, it does 100 damage and it knocks your enemies into the air and has a 15-meter range. Both the damage and the range of Kinetic Pulse, they scale with your spirit power. So late game, this ability can have insane range. At one ability point, enemies that you hit get reduced fire rate and reduced movement speed. At 2 ability points, you deal increased gun damage to the enemies that you hit with this stomp. So basically, Kinetic Pulse is your early game damage and engage. Now Dynamo's second ability is Quantum Entanglement, or his teleport. Now at base level, you disappear for 1.5 seconds, during which you can't be targeted and you don't take damage. Now when you reappear, your gun gets reloaded and you have 25% increased fire rate. After you press the ability, you actually have an option. You can choose to just click and teleport yourself, or you can middle mouse to bring yourself and all of your nearby allies to a target location. And at max level, you get extra ammo when you come out of your teleport. Now Dynamo's third ability is Rejuvenating Aura, or his heal. Now at base level, it restores 32 health per second at 2 ticks per second in an 8-meter radius for 5 seconds, and it heals for a total of 160 HP. During this time, you can't shoot, you can't punch, you can't jump, you can't use abilities. Now you can still dash, but that's about it. During a heal, you also have reduced movement speed, so you walk really slow. But one ability point, if you channel his heal for the full 5 seconds, you gain movement speed when you come out of the heal. At max level, you actually get faster while you're healing. You also have increased healing and full movement again. Now Dynamo has one of the best ults in the game. It's called Singularity. When you cast your ult at base level, it pulls all of the enemies in an 8-meter radius for 2.75 seconds. You deal 60 damage per second, and that damage scales with your spirit power. And during the Singularity, all of the enemies that get affected, they can't shoot, they can't move, they can't cast. At one ability point, the range increases by 2 meters, and at 2 ability points, you channel your ult for even longer. And at max, your ult does damage based on the enemy max HP. So those are all of Dynamo's abilities. His first ability is a really good engage tool that can be used to poke or chase. His second ability is a really good way to dodge abilities, especially things like Bebop Bomb or Wraith Ult. Those things that lock onto you, you can dodge those. His third ability lets you stay in a fight for much longer than you normally would be able to, especially early game in lane. You don't have to back all the way to base if you can just pop his ability. And his ult is possibly the best ult in the game and can absolutely turn a lost fight around and win you the game. Now let's talk about how to play Dynamo. Like, what are his playstyles? As a Dynamo, you really have 2 options in terms of how you want to build. Full weapon damage if you're looking to brawl, be self-sufficient, and carry a game. Or you can build spirit power and look to carry your team by really supporting them and setting up all the kills. Personally, I build spirit because hitting those massive ults where you pull in 6 enemies, those are insane and they feel great. Dynamo's weapon at level 1 is actually really strong and it scales really well, so building weapon damage is perfectly fine. Let's talk first about the weapon damage build. If you want to build around weapon damage, I would start with items like Close Quarters, High Velocity Magazine, Basic Magazine. Especially during the laning phase, I would also pick up things like Mystic Burst and Extra Charge to buff up that first ability. Dynamo has pretty low mobility, so items like Extra Stamina and Sprint Boots, those are going to help him move around lane and also close the gap to engage an enemy. Now his core items, if you want to do a weapon damage build, are going to be Headhunter, Point Blank, Intensifying Magazine, things that directly scale up his weapon damage. In general, we're going to be fighting enemies really close, and we're going to be brawling with them. So other good items that I almost always pick up are Superior Stamina and Warp Stone to help us engage more and escape if we have to. Late in the game, we want to pick up things like Glass Cannons, Siphon Bullets, those things that boost our damage, as well as all the usuals like our armors or Unstoppable, Refresher, and Superior Cooldown. And if we get everything built, we are going to do massive damage and absolutely steamroll games. In terms of our abilities, we want to get our Stomp first. And then, depending on how lane is going, either we get Heal first if we need it, or we get Teleport. For ability priority, we want to get our stomp to level 2 first for the increased gun damage from, when we stomp our enemies. And after we get level 2 stomp, then we can start playing really close, really uptight, really aggressive. And when we get level 2 stomp, then we start maxing out our heal, because we want to get that increased sustain, and we want to be able to shoot while we're healing. After heal, then we'll get our teleport to level 2 for the added fire rate bonus from when we TP. So we'll TP into an enemy, we get increased fire rate, we can stomp on them, we'll do increased damage, and we'll wipe them out. Now, if you want my exact build with the annotations and the build order and everything like that, then you can find it if you go to the public builds and you just look for Dynamo, the Dynamic Monkey DPS. Now let's talk about the Spirit build. For our Spirit build, we still want to start with weapon damage, especially for laning pressure. So we buy High Velocity Magazine and we buy Close Quarters. We scale our stomp with Extra Charge and Mystic Burst for damage, and we're going to help ourselves stay alive by grabbing Sprint Boots and extra stamina. Now during the mid game, we're going to pick up all of our core items, such as Mystic Reverb, Improved Reach, Improved Spirit, Improved Cooldown, or Improved Burst. These different spirit items are going to help scale our stomp to become absolutely lethal, and our ult is going to be the absolute greatest support ability in the game. Now late in the game, we're going to pick up Refresher, because the only thing better than one inescapable ult is 2 inescapable ults. And we're also going to pick up Superior Cooldown or Boundless Spirit so that we can keep stomping and do massive damage. For ability priority, we're going to pick up Stomp first and max that out. We want to be killing people. And depending on our lane, we can also pick up heal or teleport first, but we're always going to max heal before teleport. Now, if you want my exact build with annotations and build order and stuff like that, you can find it by going to the public builds and just looking for Dynamo, the Dynamic Monkey support. And yeah, that's pretty much all you need to know about Dynamo. He's definitely a hero that takes a little bit of getting used to, and he benefits a ton from communicating with your team. You also want to make sure that you're getting the most out of your active items, so if you're not used to keeping track of timers and cooldowns and stuff like that, it's something you're going to have to get the hang of, and it's easiest just to do that by playing a bunch of matches. Your ult also has a massive cooldown, so just, make sure you're not preemptively popping it or popping it if you're not going to get anything out of it, like a kill or securing an objective like mid-boss. But yeah, that's it from me. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like the builds, like the video, and subscribe for future Deadlock content.